Oh yeah. Put me on. Oh shit. Oh yeah.
All right, are you ready?
What's the show called?
Earth Abides.
Earth Abides.
Earth Abides. And take one.
What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I am your hostess, doing the mostest, Kivanshi, and we're back with another episode of Earth Abides. Abides? Abides.
We have only ever had one episode.
Season premiere. Y'all, let me tell you, where are my notes? Give me my notes. Now, this one, it really took me for a loop, let me tell you. I'm getting my notes right now. I have my agent back here. Now, Earth Abides Season 1, Episode 1, based on the novel by George R. Stewart. Now, what does the log line mean?
Synopsis or summary.
Synopsis. After months of isolation, Isherwood?
Yeah.
Ish.
Isherwood is his real name.
Okay.
You got it.
Now let me introduce you guys to, we're going to pivot a little bit. Do you guys mind? No, you don't. We're going to pivot a little bit and talk about this wine. Now, I was introduced to this wine when I was in San Antonio, Texas. How am I looking, guys? Okay. When I was in San Antonio, this is called San Antonio, what is it?
Imperial.
What?
Imperial.
What else?
Red.
Sweet red. Okay. Get you guys some. Find it at your local beer and wine store or your local grocery store. Now, why my face don't look like this?
Let's wipe it up.
It still don't.
Jesus, not with those teeth.
What's wrong with my teeth? Hold on, guys. We're having some technical difficulties. Going back to Earth Abides, Season 1, Episode 1. The genre for this one is sci-fi, so you guys get into it. The director is Bronwen Hughes. What does a teleplay be?
The person who is the writer, but
Oh,
they transcribed
gotcha.
it from the book.
Yeah. Todd K. I can't pronounce his name. You make it look so easy. All right, guys, I'm out. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. If you want me back on the screen, please request me in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to So There's That podcast. I'm out. Love you guys. You make it look so You make it look so easy.
Hello, it is the real Kivanshi, and that was a lovely introduction from Lex. Now, if you listened to the podcast before on Spotify, we actually did a collab together for Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black. So you might recognize the voice even though you didn't see the face. So hello, she is here. You have been introduced, and she did an amazing job. So let's just give a quick round of applause here on the podcast for her. She did so good, but I'm gonna pick up where she left off. Now, the genre is sci-fi and it's post-apocalyptic. Now, that is a very specific genre and we love it. Okay, we're talking about The Walking Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Fight of the Dead, All of the Dead, zombies, werewolves, vampires, end of the world. Love the genre, and y'all already know that I'm a sci-fi nerd, so right up my alley. The director, like she said, is Bronwen Hughes. Teleplay by Todd Komarnicki. The director of photography or cinematographer, they literally mean the same thing, is Vince Arvidson. The composer is Adam King. The editor, Maxine Lahaie. And it stars Alexander Ludwig, who plays Ish, which is short for Isherwood, but he goes by Ish. He calls himself Ish in the show. Jessica Francis Dukes, who plays Emma. Leah Gibson, who plays Anne, and young Leah MacDonald, who plays Heather. So, like we already said, this is based on a novel by George R. Stewart of the same name, and this is a post-apocalyptic novel that came out in 1949. It's the story of a survivor, Ish Williams, an intellectual learner who embraces the grim duty of bearing witness to what may be humanity in its final days. But then he finds Emma, a wise and courageous woman who coaxes his stunned heart back to life and teaches him to hope again. Together, they will face unimaginable challenges as they sow the seeds of a new beginning. So in this story, so the book was originally done in 1949. It is 2024. We got to bring some things up, and we have to update with things like the telephone, broadcasting, airwaves, GPS satellite tracking in the sky. So while it is still post-apocalyptic and the main meat of the story is based on the book, we're bringing everything into the 21st century. So when we get into episode 1, we find Ish is out in like the mountains somewhere, and he ends up getting bit by a rattlesnake. As he's trying to call for help, he ends up dropping his phone in between some rock formations, and you can tell that he's used to going out on his own and just kind of being in the wild because he has to quickly think on his feet, and he cuts his own hand open and tries to get all of the venom and stuff out. Now, if you've ever watched any nature documentaries, I watched a lot of them growing up. Cut it open, suck it out, spit it out, and try to get the poison to go away from the heart. So he's doing his best not to pass the hell out while out here in the woods and making it back to the cabin where he was at. Now, he still got bit by a rattlesnake. It's still some things and some effects of the poison in his system, but he does as best as he can without cell phone and by doing it on his own and trying not to pass out from all of the pain. So we see him going in and out of consciousness, and his hand is swollen, and he gives in to the pain and he passes out. The next time we see him come to consciousness, his hand swelling is down. He's still groggy. His throat is kind of like scratchy and stuff like that. And when he goes outside, you can kind of see like some time has passed. One of the biggest indicators of that is the fact that his car has so much dirt, dust, and grime all over the windows. So he's still kind of like disoriented, but he's trying to figure out like what is going on. He finally goes back and gets his phone from where he drops it, and he sees that he has a text message from his mom, and she's just saying, you know, like, babe, I love you so much, and that's it. So he's driving, he's lost track of time, but he's kind of figuring out, okay, like it's been a minute, and it's been, by minutes I mean like he was in a coma. He has lost a lot of time, and he's calling, he's trying to reach his parents, nobody's answering the phone. As he's driving into town, he is coming into dead zones. There's people in the streets, it's flies, all it is just a smell of death, bunch of cars all over the streets, and he's panicking. He's really trying to get back to his parents. Again, the last thing that he saw from his mom was a text message that says that she loves him. And we find out that before all of this, they were trying to call him, but you know, he's out there, he's doing his own thing, like, mom, you know, everything will be okay. You know how grown kids are. We feel like we're busy now, so we don't have to answer the phone calls of our parents because we grown, we got our own life, you know, they'll always be there. But as he's pulling up, you can just tell that he's getting more stressed out about like what is really going on. And Ish unfortunately walks into his parents' house, and he finds both of them deceased. So we have this moment where I really love when the cameraman does this, where it's like shaky and disoriented, and you have the sound designer kind of making it when you have vertigo or when you're getting ready to lose your balance and that ringing is in your ear. So we have this moment where the audience is now drawn into the panic of waking up after a coma to a dead world. Nobody is around, nobody is alive, there's nowhere for him to go. And when you're feeling this way, you really contemplate a lot of things very fast. One, you're trying to find out what happened, then you can't really figure out what happened. So then you're trying to find other people. And then when you realize like you don't really know where to go or where to look, you really do have to question, should you stay in the world or should you try to continue to move on? So for the moment, it's just kind of just going through the motions until he comes across some people in a hotel casino area, and he finally gets some information about what actually happened. So there was some crazy pandemic, and I remember just being a kid watching shows like this and just thinking in my head like, man, that could happen. Like the movie Contagion. Love that movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Stars Nicole Kidman. But you see these movies and you're just like, man, humans better get it together or we're going to be wiping people out and all this other stuff. But then you read your history books and you're like, oh, nothing has ever happened since the bubonic plague or since the Spanish flu and stuff like that. But then here we are on the heels of COVID-19, and now we have a show that is based on a book from 1949 that is still very much prevalent today. So it does make you think about, will a strain come that's like super rabies that turn people into zombies, or is something going to come to wipe everybody out, and who's immune and who's not? And when all of these things happen, much like COVID-19, where you had the carriers or you have people who never got it, then you have people who got it and unfortunately succumbed to the disease itself, or it exacerbated pre-existing conditions, and then you just had to figure out like what life was like. So imagine that, but you're the only one who just woke up from sleep and nobody else exists. So he finds these two people, and one of them was actually able to keep a document or like a screen record of the news coverage that was happening. So it was some freak thing that came out of the CDC as always. And literally, even in The Walking Dead, like every time you watch these movies, they always trying to find a cure to something, like I Am Legend, and it ends up killing everybody. So CDC, I'm starting to believe in the conspiracies about the things that people write about y'all in these TV shows. Because why is it always y'all? Why? Every single time. But I digress. So he gets some information, but the woman that he finds, she had to watch her daughters pass away over Zoom. So her whole just disposition is just like, just because my heart beats doesn't mean that I'm alive or that I'm living. And they're just kind of drinking themselves into whatever it is. And, you know, she's telling him maybe we're immune, maybe we're not, but this isn't a world to even be living in. So it's just kind of getting all of this information and gathering it, and right as he's contemplating just ending it all, he comes across a dog. And y'all already know, like, dogs they just be knowing, and they are man's best friend. And this is one of those things where he finds joy and some innocence in the life of this animal that didn't ask to be here, who doesn't really understand anything that's going on, but he finds solace and he finds hope in that he can move on and try to figure out how to continue living and what that could look like for him and this new pet. So he busies himself by teaching him tricks, by taking him out on walks, by going on things and teaching him how to watch and teaching him how to hunt. And in this first episode, a year has passed since he first woke up to a dead world. A dog can only do so much. He's not around anybody. He doesn't have any human interaction. And at the end of the day, whether you're an introvert, extrovert, you like your alone time, we are social creatures. So we find Ish getting to another mental breaking point where he's just circling his driveway just over and over, just doing donuts and just trying to keep some semblance of sanity, when he gets out of the car and the dog is barking like crazy. As he walks back into the house and goes out to the balcony where the dog is overlooking, he sees a fire a few blocks away and some smoke coming up that can signify that other human life exists. So there's that. the series premiere, Earth Abides, Season 1, Episode 1. I'm gonna be real, and there's been a couple of shows where I've told y'all this. Put your phone down. Put your phone down and watch this show and pay attention. Very much like The Walking Dead, you literally just wake up in a situation. And I really like shows that kind of just thrust you into something, because I like feeling just as disoriented as the characters. But if you are not paying attention, if you got your phone in your hand or anything like that, you're gonna miss key things like the phone situations and what's going on in people's text messages and missed phone calls and things of that nature, where you actually have to be looking because there's no spoken dialogue. Another thing, just be open to the fact that this is a possibility so that you can fully immerse yourself into this experience. One of the biggest reasons I love sci-fi is because you can just let your imagination be free and just throw yourself into this world of make-believe where anything is possible. And because anything is possible to go wrong, everything is possible to go right. So a lot of the theories that people like to throw around, and what's coming up next, and who's gonna do this, and what's gonna happen, everything is right and everything is wrong, because it's the fun of make-believe. Aliens coming from the sky, super cells, your whole body being immune to every type of disease, new plants, the earth is doing like a cleanse or anything like that. But also it's still rooted in some sense of real science, right? When COVID-19 came, the air was cleaner, because motherfuckers had to stay at home and you wasn't doing no gas emissions or anything like that. The water was cleaner. Schools of fish were visiting places that they used to actually inhabit before we went and took over. So it can still be a show while he's finding a way to continue to live. The earth still is trying to find its way that it can exist without humans destroying it all together in the ecosystem. And if you look at the news, if you look at what's going on with ecologists and archaeologists and everything like that, we might find ourselves in the same situation. So pay attention and learn to see how you can reduce your own carbon footprint and take away some lessons from sciencey shows like this, so that you can just kind of like make the world a better place, so you don't find yourself waking up from a good night's rest and then figuring out that it's just you, your cat, your books, and your plants. Like, let's just do better. And with that, that is going to wrap up today's episode. As always, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Like Lex said, leave comments in the box below. Oh my God, and my light died. Of course, this is the second time this has happened to me. But anyways, leave comments in the comment box below. If you have people who don't like watching the YouTube channel, go ahead and share that link for Spotify and Apple Podcasts. As always, follow me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast, and me talking all types of mess on the timeline at Kivonchi on Twitter, as well as Blue Sky at Kivonchi. And I will catch y'all in the next one.